Joining us now from Des Moines, Iowa, is Democratic presidential candidate and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Welcome, Senator Sanders. I just wanted to get your reaction to John Boehner's news this week. You came to Congress with him at the same time.
Well, John has had an impossibly difficult job trying to reconcile the conservative wing of his caucus with the extreme right wing of his caucus that really will not do anything and pass any legislation that Barack Obama will sign. It's an impossible job, and I admire John for his tenacity and hanging in there for 5 tough years.
Let me ask you about another piece of news this week. Scott Walker folded his campaign. You've talked a great deal about the billionaire class that influences politics by giving money to candidates. The Koch brothers were big fans of Scott Walker's. He had a lot of money in his super PAC, and yet he disappeared from the presidential race. Is that a rebuttal to your argument that big money just totally calls the tune in politics?
Well, I wish it were, and I wish that the Koch brothers would say, well, gee, now we're going to take the $900 million that we plan to spend in this campaign supporting right-wing Republicans, more, by the way, than either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party will spend, and we're not going to spend it. But, John, I don't think the Koch brothers learned that lesson. I think the power of money over the political process is horrendous. I think that super PACs are playing a very, very destructive role in our political system, and I will do, if president, everything that I can to see that this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision is overturned. American democracy is not about billionaires buying elections or trying to buy elections.
You did something politicians don't normally do, which is go into an audience that is not there just to applaud you automatically. You went to Liberty University, fundamentalist Christian university, and you brought your same message. One of the things you said was that the audience, you knew you had a disagreement on the question of abortion and on same-sex marriage, but you asked them to put those disagreements aside and focus on the priority, which is the inequities in the economic system. Would you have the same message for liberals that on those issues that really stop the fighting about those and focus on the big thing, which is the economic inequality?
Well, look, this is what I said at Liberty, and this is what I believe. I am pro-choice. I've always been pro-choice. I am strongly in favor of gay marriage, and I know that at Liberty University, people there have honest disagreements with me on that issue. But what I said, look, at a time when we have a grotesque level of income and wealth inequality, when almost all of the new income and wealth in this country is going to the top 1%, when we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth, when many, many millions of Americans are working 2 or 3 jobs just to sustain themselves, can we not get together and talk about creating an economy that works for all of us and not just millionaires and billionaires? When children go hungry in America, that is a moral issue. When 51% of African American kids are either unemployed or underemployed, that is a moral issue. And I know that at Liberty University, and among the evangelical community, you have some very sincere, honest people who take these issues seriously. And by the way, many of them are concerned, as Pope Francis is, about climate change and the need to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel. They believe that the earth created by God cannot be destroyed by greed. And my question was, can we work together to address those issues?
I'd like to play something for you that Jeb Bush said out on the campaign trail this week and get your reaction to it.
Our message is one of hope and aspiration. It isn't one of division and get in line and we'll take care of you with free stuff. Our message is one that is uplifting, that says you can earned success.
That's a kind of argument that will be used against you if you get the nomination. The idea that you're promising health care for all and free college. It's a bunch of free stuff. It's unrealistic. What's your reaction?
Well, let's be clear that what Jeb Bush is proposing are massive tax breaks for the richest people in this country, while he will fight to cut Social Security and Medicare and programs that tens of millions of elderly people and middle-class people and working-class people depend upon. I happen to believe, John, that in a democratic, civilized society, all people should be entitled to health care as a right. Yeah, I do believe that. Is this a radical idea? No, it's not. Every other major industrialized country on earth does the same. Yes, I believe that it is absurd that in a highly competitive global economy, we got hundreds of thousands of bright young people who are qualified to go to college but can't because their families lack the income. So yes, I do believe that public colleges and universities should be tuition free. Is this a radical idea? Well, gee, Germany does it. Other countries around the world do that because they know investing in their kids is good for their economy. And by the way, we're going to pay for that by a tax on Wall Street speculation.
If I may pick up on that point about free college, Hillary Clinton weighed in on free college. Let's listen to what she said, and I'll get your reaction.
I am not going to give, free college to wealthy kids. I'm not going to give free college to kids who don't work some hours to try to put, their own effort into getting their education.
So what's your reaction to that critique, Senator?
Well, my reaction is that I think if you look at my agenda, the wealthy people are not particularly supportive of it because we are going to ask the wealthiest people in this country to pay substantially more in taxes because we have a situation where they're earning almost all of the new income. We are going to ask large corporations, profitable corporations that in some cases pay zero in federal income taxes to start paying their fair share of taxes. But I do believe that we need a system which is not free college education for all. It is free tuition in public colleges and universities. I think it is simple, it is straightforward, it exists in other countries, and in fact, John, 50 or 60 years ago, it used to exist in the United States of America.
Hillary Clinton, when I spoke to her last week, said she had, quote, no interest in attacking you. You've said you won't attack her. Do you take her at her word?
Well, I certainly do, and I hope that that will be the case. Look, I think one of the reasons our campaign is doing well is we are focusing on the real issues that impact the middle class and working families of this country. The decline of the middle class, income and wealth inequality, climate change, a corrupt campaign finance system, affordability of college, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I do. I happen to have know Hillary Clinton for the last 25 years. I respect her. I admire her. I'm not going to get into the business of attacking her. I've never run a negative political ad in my life. Ask the people of Vermont, and they will tell you a lot of very ugly ads have been run against me. I've never run a negative ad in my life. So I hope that in this campaign we can have a civil discourse discussing our differences of opinion, which are many, on the important issues facing our country. I think that is what the American people want us to do.
What about her super PAC ads? Do you think that her promise extends to those?
Well, I would certainly hope so.
Let me ask you one then final quickly before we have about 20 seconds. What's the status of the debates? You'd like to see more of them? Is there any chance there are going to be more Democratic debates?
I have the feeling that there will be. I think debates are a good way for candidates to differentiate their differences. I think it's good for the American people. I think it promotes a serious discussion in our democracy, and I would like to see more of them.
All right, excellent. Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you so much for being with us. We'll look forward to seeing you again, and we'll be back in a moment.